The privileged class is a conceptual term often used to describe the social, economic, and political advantages held by dominant groups in society. These advantages are typically systemic, invisible to those who benefit from them, and perpetuate inequalities across race, gender, wealth, and other social categories. Privilege isn't just about individual wealth or success, it's about systemic advantages. As minority groups are being marginalized and seemingly losing civil protections and unalienable rights by the hour, there is one particular sect that embodies the privileged class in 2025. Ask yourself, are you in a war with an enemy you never knew? I'm Frank Rano Trust. Welcome to Candid Facts. Today we talk about America's secret, the privileged class. With roughly 1.1 million sworn officers who took an oath to uphold the Constitution, beating and corralling American citizens for exercising their First Amendment rights. Exactly, who are the people who swore to protect and serve, protecting? Fake news media outlets are unabatedly calling for executions and exterminations of the poor, the homeless, and those who disagree with the government. Yet, people on the far right still believe they are watching fair and biased TV that at best highlights and showcases what's wrong with people in America. But wait, there is a sophisticated mental play at hand in America. We at TRUSTRAWFACTS already know the 47 is the perfect play of the 48 laws. If you read Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power and manage not to be corrupted by it, you will understand the president-elect is the perfect definition of these principles. The subtext to America's secret, the privileged class, works like this. The boogeyman tactic involves creating a powerful us versus them dynamic to consolidate power and loyalty. By giving your followers a destructive enemy to confront, you can galvanize them toward a common goal and make yourself seem like the only solution. To further the obvious point, the law, 27, is to play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following. This is the most direct application of the tactic. Greene explains that people have a desperate need to believe in something and belong to a cause. To create a cult-like following, a leader should craft a simple, inspiring message. The enemy is usually a one-dimensional representation of evil. Frame the group as victims facing this powerful, malevolent enemy. Then, present yourself as the sole leader who can protect the group and defeat the enemy. And employ apocalyptic rhetoric, convincing followers that only you can save them from the impending doom. This empowerment over the masses is completed by the demagogue's implementation of Law 37 of the 48 Powers of Law, which states by creating compelling spectacles. A boogeyman works best when it is not just spoken about, but also made visible through compelling imagery and dramatic displays. The more emotional and vivid the association with the enemy, the more powerful the effect will be. Moving to Law 8, make other people come to you. By baiting and goading your opponent, the boogeyman, you can force them to act on your terms, allowing you to control the narrative and portray their predictable reaction as confirmation of their wickedness. Charismatic figures who create an us versus them narrative to demand total loyalty and blind obedience from their followers have been very successful throughout history. Which leads to Law 39. Stir up waters to catch fish. Creating disorder and conflict, such as by exaggerating the boogeyman's threat, can create opportunities for you to assert your control. When people are frightened and confused, they are more likely to turn to a strong leader. Political leaders who point to an opposing party, foreign nation, or cultural element as the enemy responsible for all social ills. Thus, the creation of the boogeyman or the war with an enemy you never knew. The privileged class consolidates power by manipulating economic laws and opportunities. The privileged class sees generational wealth as a birthright, not as a power play, pitting parents against offspring. The privileged class promotes inheritance, tax loopholes, and corporate power to keep wealth within a small elite. They have slowly but dutifully maneuvered their way into controlling banking, housing, political, and executive branches of both the private and public sectors, assigning themselves one for one as handler of every major politician in America. Ask yourself, have you ever noticed the similarity between the Pope's Zucchetto and the privileged religion? The privileged class controls access to resources like jobs, education, and housing to keep marginalized groups out. They are hired, promoted, and paid more for equal work or not doing any work at all, and always assumed to be competent. The privileged class of the Northern Hemisphere travel freely about the world as if they own every inch of the globe, often promoting they invented culture and prosperity in regions they intend to colonize. The privileged class of today receives a social safety net from hardworking U.S. taxpayers, for instance. The bulk of annual military assistance comes from a 10-year Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, currently running from 2019 to 2028. Did you know? The privileged class is paid reparations for every hardship monthly. Germany pays survivors and citizens, also victims of recent attacks, a monthly pension, one-time hardship payments, and emergency funds of around $238 per survivor, with a new compensation plan from the U.S. which includes a one-time grant of $16,000 monthly as a stipend and housing aid fund. Germany has paid nearly $95 billion to the privileged class since 1952, and in America, the Japanese and the American natives have been paid reparations. But so far, since as far back as 1865, African Americans have not been afforded these forms of payments for any systemic suffering. The ball is in your court, America. Silence is acquiescence. Leave a comment and like the Candid Facts you can trust. We hope you've enjoyed America's Secret, the Privileged Class. I'm Frank Rano Trust. Follow Trust. Raw facts for more Candid Facts.